Do you want to know how to make savoury tuile biscuits but don't know where to start? In this video, we're going to cover the basics so you know everything you need to know to make these at home. This video was actually inspired by a comment on my sweet tuile video. Can you make a savoury version of this, and what do you substitute for the sugar? What a great question! In a sweet tuile, sugar plays an important role, so how can we make a thin, crisp, savoury tuile without using sugar? Today we're going to do just that, and then we're going to make the other components we need for a fine dining at home inspired entree. So stick around to see how it all comes together. The first step is to make a tuile paste. We need to be quite exact, so I'm measuring out the egg white, since eggs can come in a variety of sizes. Then we need to whisk it until it's just going foamy. Now we can grate in some Parmesan cheese. I usually use a microplane to get it nice and fine. If there are any hard lumps, it won't spread nicely. Fold the Parmesan into the egg white until it's completely combined. Next we add the melted butter. When this is all incorporated, we add the flour and corn flour to bind it all together. The Parmesan and the corn flour replace some of the properties the sugar gives to the sweet tuile. In a sweet tuile, sugar not only provides sweetness, but it also helps to develop the texture. If you make biscuits without sugar, they can be a bit crumbly, and it's the same with a savoury tuile. So this is why I add Parmesan to help bind it together. Of course, it adds that delicious cheesy flavour too. Lastly, you can add in your other flavourings. I'm using chopped parsley today, but you could use any herbs here or even add spices to match the flavours of your dish. It's important to let this rest for about 5 minutes to firm up a little and make it easier to spread into shape. Today we're going to make a cylindrical shaped tuile, so while that's resting, let's make a template. I'm going to measure the circumference of the mould so I can make the template the right size. Remember to choose a mould that can go in the oven. This cardboard I'm using is about the thickness of a breakfast cereal box, so it's not very thick. It's so much easier to have a template. Often you want to make multiple tuiles all the same shape and size, so this helps to keep them all consistent. You could also make these freehand, but they will probably end up a bit blotchy in the baking process because they wouldn't all be an even thickness. Make sure you make a few more than you need. They're a very delicate biscuit and can break easily. Then they go in the oven at about 180 degrees Celsius, 350 degrees Fahrenheit for a few minutes. This is where making a savoury tuile is different to making a sweet tuile. With sugar, the sweet tuile paste is soft when it comes out of the oven and quickly hardens around the mould. This savoury paste without sugar needs to be baked twice. At this stage, we only want to power bake the tuile. It's very hard to give the exact time these need in the oven because every oven is different and it all depends on the thickness of your paste. Since we're only power baking them, we don't want to get any colour yet. We're just setting the paste so we can lift it and shape it. I'm going to lightly oil my ring mould so the paste doesn't stick to it. Trust me, it's so annoying when you've baked your beautiful tuile just to have it break when you're trying to slide it off the mould. Wrap the paste around the ring. It helps to have a little gap by the join to make it easier to slide these off when they're done. If the tuile paste wraps over itself, it will be very hard to get it off in one piece. Pop them back into the oven to set them into shape. Make sure you watch them because they don't take long to brown up or burn. Here they are. Don't they look great? Now comes the tricky part of sliding them off the mould. Just go slowly and carefully. If you leave these to cool completely, they're much harder to get off in one piece. Right, we've got our tuile. What are we going to do with it? I've decided to make a Moroccan-inspired sweet potato and chickpea salad. These are the things we'll be using: sweet potato, chickpeas, kale, avocado, feta cheese, and our seasonings are sesame seeds, paprika, cumin, powdered garlic, salt, and chili flakes. We need to roast our sweet potato, so let's prepare that first. I'm going to cut some battens to stack up. This will create some height in our final salad. If you're going for a fine dining look, you wouldn't use the edge pieces, and you would want to keep all of these uniform. The offcuts can be used elsewhere in a soup or puree. Next, I'm going to put them in a bowl with the chickpeas and add the sesame seeds and spices and a little splash of olive oil to coat them. Then we need to roast them until they're fork tender. So many people buy vinaigrette salad dressings even though they're so quick and easy to make. So here's the 1-minute crash course. Most vinaigrette dressings are made from vinegar, oil and flavourings. The vinegar to oil ratio is key. It's 1 to 3. 1 part vinegar to 3 parts oil. Once you've got the ratio right, you have a base dressing that you could add almost any flavourings to. The flavourings I've got today are seeded mustard, Dijon mustard, honey, finely chopped fresh parsley, and a pinch of salt. Then all you need to do is give it a good whisk until it all comes together. You can also add all the ingredients into a jar with a tightly fitting lid and shake it up until it all comes together. Look at that beautiful dressing. It's shiny and the oil is fully incorporated. If you get the ratio wrong, it will look curdled, or you'd be able to see the oil that isn't fully mixed in. Have you eaten kale before? It's a lovely leafy green vegetable from the brassica family and has a whole bunch of valuable nutrients in it. You'll notice the leaves are quite firm, so I like to break them up into smallish pieces and pull out any of the stringy bits. Then you can massage some of the vinaigrette on, working it into the leaves. This softens them up a little and adds flavour and tenderness. So now all our components are ready, we can assemble our entree. Whenever you're designing your own dishes, it's always a good idea to try and combine a variety of textures, colours and flavours. And this entree has all of these, so I'm happy. I'm going to start by adding a couple of lines of balsamic reduction. It adds a great dark colour on the white plate and the flavour is complementary. I am cheating and using a bought one, but I really should have made it myself as this is too thick for my liking. Then I'm going to position the tuile where I want it and start adding the salad components. I was going to start with the sweet potato battens, but the colour is too similar to the tuile, so I'm adding a little greenery first. Then I'm going to stack on a few battens of sweet potato. If I stack them slightly overlapping, it will create a bit of height in our petite salad. It will take a bit of positioning to get it just right. The chickpeas can just be dotted around here and there to fill in some of the gaps. Then I'll add a little pile of diced avocado. I'm carefully adding it so it doesn't all come tumbling down. For a contrasting colour, I'll add some feta cheese. And at this point, I think it could do with a little more greenery on top. Perfect! I'm happy with this. It looks elegant and I'm sure it will be delicious to eat. Now you've got your entree sorted, why not check out this video? It's not specifically about fine dining at home, but it shows how you can use a puree to fancy up an otherwise plain dinner. See you over there.